After a very long and very cold winter, we're back for the first weekend of the 2013 Super Pro VAG Trophy Championships and Touch of Mojo Mark II Golf GTI Championships here at Donington Park. Hope you enjoy the show. The Super Pro VAG Trophy Championship is renowned for its friendly atmosphere and its affordability, and so is constantly attracting new drivers and new teams, and this year is no different. We caught up with two new drivers who are competing in this year's championships.
Great race yesterday. I started from last, unfortunately, but the second fastest overall in Class B. Finished fifth in class, so looking promising for today's race.
And what makes that even more impressive is that was your very first car race.
It was, yeah, very first car race. Moved up from karting, first race this year at Donington.
Now, of all the championships that you could have chosen, why the VAG Trophy?
Well, I actually watched it on telly last year a little bit at the end of my end of karting year, and it just looked like a very competitive and very friendly sport. Moving from karting, there was quite a lot of contact, a lot of argy-bargy, and this seemed a lot cleaner and a lot more friendly racing.
Now, Josh, you are ex-Supersport racer. How does that compare?
Chalk and cheese, really. It's handy having track knowledge, but from a point of view of the actual racing side of it, it's a totally new skill to learn. That's why it's invaluable having the lads behind me, really, sort of to give me some advice. They've been doing it for 4 or 5 years, but yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. We're running 2 Mark 5s. Aaron's running a Sirocco, and there's another lad, Joe, he's running a Golf as well, so there's quite a few of us to help each other out.
We started off with about 6 cars in 2009. It took us a little while to get the regulations sorted because we're actually trying to cater for pretty well every Volkswagen Audi related vehicle with a floor pan built before 2006, which is quite a difficult set of regs, really. We think we got there really last year, and I think it's clear to see the number of different cars we've now got on the grid. And it's great that you can almost turn up with anything, and we've got an ex-British touring car, Seat Toledo. The way the regulations work, we can weight that so it's fair that that car can race against less powerful cars. We actually do discriminate between turbo cars and naturally aspirated cars. Class A, you're talking about slicks and wets on the tyre front, whereas Class B, that is Blue Book treaded tyres. We had 10 new people appearing here at Donington for the first time that had never raced with us before, and it's hugely pleasing to see that. We're going to Spa for the first time this year as well, and we've already got more than 30 deposits, and it's in July, so should be a superb event.
It's race 2 for the Super Pro VAG Trophy Championships here at Donington Park. Yesterday the weather was appalling and a fantastic win saw Paul Taylor up here on pole position, but Carville and Macmillan are close behind. The weather's good today, so this could be an exciting race.
Certainly should be. Nice to see the sun out here at Donington Park, and this is how they line up, with Paul Taylor in pole position, Dave Carville and Sirocco alongside him on the front row from Joe McMillan and Josh Cagill, who we heard from earlier on row 2. Green flag for the marshal at the rear of the pack. 5-second board shown to the drivers. The red lights about to flash on, then out. Then we'll be racing here at Donington Park. Away we go, and the field offers one sprinting towards Redgate Corner in the Super Pro VAG Trophy, and it is the pole sitter Paul Taylor who's converted the early advantage. The Sirocco of Dave Carville then in second position. It's Joe McMillan squeezing clear of Daniel Rose into third. The car's fantastic mix as around goes Dave Carville, who slews sideways in front of the pack and is lucky to be avoided by pretty much everybody. He should rejoin. It gives Paul Taylor a huge advantage. We get the chance to enjoy this very varied, very mixed field heading down through the crane and curves. Pretty much every single shape and size of Volkswagen represented, as several of them spinning in the midfield. Disappointing start to the race for them, and it happens so often here at Donington Park. So it is Paul Taylor who leads. It's Joe McMillan then in second position with Daniel Rose in pursuit. Taylor, who won yesterday's race, we've got a slight gap back to Tony Absolute, who's got Josh Cagill on his tail. Then Barry Collier, good glimpse there at Jamie Mars, who's currently second in Class B. James Bradley Silverstone, the red Seat, just up ahead of him. Because of course the Super Pro VAG Trophy open to all cars from the Volkswagen Audi group, which means we have Volkswagens, Audis, Seats, also the occasional Skoda can be seen making an appearance. It's Dave Carvell in the Scirocco already gaining places as jinking through the chicane on to complete the first lap of the race. Daniel Rose, so often the quickest driver in the VAG trophy, on the tail of Joe McMillan, and McMillan scoring a couple of victories along the way last season. Him and Liam McMillan had a very competitive season in their Seat, so they arrive into Redgate Corner. Tony Absalom in the maroon Golf in 4th position, trying to get onto terms with this scrap, but this is what often happens with Paul Taylor jumping into the early advantage, and the rest of the field slowly but surely beginning to reel him in. Swooping down through the Craner curves then, this fight for 2nd and 3rd position, and Dan Rose putting all the pressure on Joe McMillan, kicking up maybe a little bit of dust. Yes, definitely kicking up some dust. We heard the gravel was the race leader Paul Taylor, so he is pushing very, very hard to try and extend his advantage, and it's really Dan Rose got to worry about, or Joe McMillan under pressure as they climb the hill into McLean's and then on towards Coppice Corner. She's got the blind entry, but you can overtake her, and that's what Dan Rose is looking to do. Joe McMillan, though, covering the inside line of the Seat. Then we've got Tony Absalom, who is in reasonably hot pursuit as well. Battles going on throughout the field. One of the beauties of the Super Pro VAG trophy is there's always somebody to race with in such a large and varied grid. So jinking through, Rose has made that move on Joe McMillan. He's now lining up the move on Paul Taylor as well as they sprint along the start and finish straight on towards Redgate Corner and cover the inside line there very assertively is Paul Taylor, and with good reason Dan Rose then thinks about jinking to the outside line and then maybe looking for the switchback as they come out of Redgate into Hollywood and down through the Craner curves, and this should be Rose's opportunity to take the lead in the race, and that's exactly what he does. Taylor slithers out a little bit wide, but he's got the inside line then for the midsection of the Craner curves, but as they hit the braking zone for the old hairpin, it's Rose who finally seals the deal, snatches the lead, and will now do what he can to pull clear of Paul Taylor. A little bit lower down the field, Len Simpson and Nicholas Bosch in battle. It's Simpson, number 45, to the inside line, who takes the place from Bosch. Immaculately prepared say out there for Bosch, and a novice driver as well, sporting novice cross, as Paul Taylor and Joe McMillan continue their scrap, but they are being rapidly reeled in by Tony Absalom. There's Absalom, and in pursuit just behind him we've got Josh Cahill as well, so heading along the back straight out of Coppice over the ripples in the road, and Absalom looking to make ground in the Golf, and he may be in a position to challenge McMillan here as they hit the brakes and jink through the Robert chicane for accelerating onto the Wheatcroft straight, named in honour of Tom Wheatcroft, who was the man who really revived Donington Park in the 1970s and built it up to be a Grand Prix venue for the 1993 season. Taylor coming under pressure here from McMillan, and Joe McMillan's got the inside line and should go through, take 2nd position away from Paul Taylor. Traditional Redgate manoeuvre, but Tony Absalom is the man they've got to watch for, as well as Josh Cahill. Cahill here looking very strong. We also caught a glimpse of Martin Cully in the Beetle, as well as battles throughout the field. Simon Tomlinson and Barry Cully battling away. It's Tomlinson in the blue, number 40 Golf, then Barry Cully in the Vento. Goblin Racing pursuit, Martin Cully, the other Goblin Racing man, on the tail of Tony Absalom with Josh Cahill, and to all intents and purposes they have dispatched Paul Taylor and Joe McMillan here. So this is the fight for 2nd position, and it's a very, very intensive fight indeed. They put a lap on Nicholas Bosch sprinting on towards the Robert chicane, and Martin Cully busy defending from Josh Cahill. Cahill going very nicely here indeed, a promising talent as he accelerates out of the chicane onto the Wheatcroft straight. A little bit more in the way of traffic. Steve Rowland, who they are going to try and pick their way past. I think all of them should be clear by the time they arrive into the braking zone for Redgate Corner. The bonnet just flapping a little bit there on the Golf of Josh Cahill, who is another driver who sports the novice cross, which means that he is comparatively extremely inexperienced, but he's mixing it with the vastly experienced Tony Absalom and Martin Cully. The black Golf you see there is the leader of Class B, Jamie Martin, but Martin a little bit delayed there through the Rock chicane, and that could give James Bradley Silverstone the opportunity to dive through, and it does. So Bradley Silverstone snatching the lead of Class B away from Jamie Martin. Now what can Martin do by way of fighting back? He's a very, very quick driver, is Jamie Martin. Further through the field, dramas for Brian Passmore. Fairly harmless spin at Redgate. The rear of the car overtakes the front. Tony Absalom makes a much bigger mistake going into McLean's though, and skittles off into the gravel trap. Comes to a halt, and he's going to struggle to get out of there. Spins up the front wheels, digs himself in further still. Disaster for Absam very, very late in the race because the checkered flag has gone out, and it's a victory for Daniel Rose in the Super Pro VAG Trophy. Delight for Rose. What about the fight for second position? It's Martin Cully in the Golf who's got the advantage, and he's really pushing, isn't he, through the Robert chicane, but he should be able to take that second rung on the rostrum, with Josh Cahill scoring an excellent third position. Well, very, very entertaining race there from the Super Pro VAG Trophy. And what about the battle for Class B? And it is still just James Bradley Silverstone who's got his nose clear of Jamie Martin, who's fighting the wild, but it is going to be number 21, Bradley Silverstone, who flashes his lights in celebration, who claims class honours here at Donington Park. So let's take a look at the final results, with victory for Dan Rose from Martin Cully and Josh Cahill. Completely different sets of personnel on the podium from the first race of the weekend, with Class B being claimed by James Bradley Silverstone, and very happy drivers taking their place on the rostrum.
Yeah, new car, pushed hard, did well in qualifying, made a bit of a mistake yesterday in the rain with the choice of tyres, punished us quite severely, had to settle for a third, but yeah, really happy. Worked hard, got the car dialed in, a lot of practice, all come together in the end.
Yeah, no, we're definitely back, aren't we, with a bit of a bang. So I wanted to come back today in style. Yesterday we had a few dramas, you know, didn't end up getting back to the collecting area on wet tyres, but today, great, you know, I couldn't have come back any better really.
Well, that's it for the Super Pro VAG Trophy Championships. A brilliant win there for Class A's Dan Rose and Class B's James Bradley Silverstone. Next up is the Touch of Mojo Mark II Golf GTI Championships. See you after the break.